Eye on the Islands is a weekly talk show dedicated to the people and the issues of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, here's your host for Eye on the Islands, Sarah Lazama.
With ready access to technology combined with a culture that flaunts sexuality at every turn, including television, advertisements, and movies, you may not be surprised at the number of sexual images being exchanged via cell phone and on the internet. What may be cause for alarm is the number of minors engaged in the activity, some of whom may be your own teenagers. We're talking about sexting. Hi, I'm Sarah Lazama, and welcome to Eye on the Islands. Sexting is something that you may want to discuss with your teens at home before they suffer the unintended consequences. Joining me in our discussion today is U.S. Attorney Denise Hines, as well as Special Agent Hillary Hodge from Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Welcome and thanks for being here.
Good morning.
First of all, what exactly is sexting?
Well, sexting is the taking and transmitting by way of cell phone or other electronic medium sexually explicit images of yourself to another person.
And how does your office work with Agent Hodge's office to combat this?
Well, our office is charged with the responsibility federally of prosecuting individuals that exploit children by using technology as well as the internet. And Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Special Agent Hillary Hodge, their department assists us in that effort.
And how do you do that?
We do the investigations on people that are involved with exploitation of children. We also have forensic examiners that look at computers or any electronic media to gather the pertinent evidence to assist the prosecution.
Now, do we have a lot of teenagers here in the Virgin Islands that are engaging in sexting?
Well, an exact figure has not been determined. However, we do know that nationally, 80% of the children in the United States have access to or use a cell phone or other electronic medium on a regular basis. I don't think it would be a far reach to say that we do have quite a few instances of it here. And I'm noticing that also in the amount of people, amount of children that come to my office because images of themselves have been transmitted to another person. And their parents have gotten wind of it. They come into our office. Though, of course, at that point, the horse has already left the barn. And we try our best to contain it, but we're hoping through this effort to educate children so that they won't make that mistake.
And your office relies on the help of ICE.
That's correct. We do the follow-up, the investigations, and also the forensic analysis required to be able to bring these cases forward for prosecution.
Why do you think teens are involving themselves in this kind of behavior?
Well, I think they're being teenagers. I know when we were younger, if you had a crush on a boy had a crush on a girl, they'd write them a note, and you'd send it along. It'll get crumpled up and destroyed, and nobody'd be the worse for it. But now, as you indicated earlier, we're in a more of a highly sexualized environment now, and therefore, what used to be a note is now a sexually explicit image. Unfortunately, nowadays, you can't take it back. You can't crumple it up, and it does last forever.
So these images are being passed from cell phone to cell phone. Is it usually girlfriend to boyfriend, or are the boys engaging in it too?
I'm sure boys engage in it. It has been my experience that most of the children that come into our office have been girls that have been transmitting an image of themselves at the urging of someone who they thought were a boyfriend, someone who they knew and they thought they could trust.
Is it someone they're trying to impress or someone they're trying to date, that they're already dating?
Actually, I did a program this weekend in St. Croix, and we had a group of teenagers talk to us, and they talked about the fact that they don't flirt the way children used to years ago, face to face. So much of the communication taking place nowadays is being done electronically. So when one girl flirts with a boy, the flirting really takes place electronically using a cell phone, and it can involve images, yes.
And one key thing I'd like to point out, and we find a big misconception, whether it's a cell phone or computer, it's not you're sending an image or sending a message directly from one phone directly to the other phone. There's servers involved, there's service providers are involved. So a lot of that information goes through various service providers before it gets out. And especially when you come to some of the social networks, they are on those social network servers as well. And oftentimes you're not just sending it directly from one person to another person. You may think so, but it's not necessarily that case. And also, you don't know where that image is going to go once it gets to on the other end. Person may say, hey, can you look at this, check this out, or send it somewhere else, or maybe on their cell phone. The cell phone may go for repair, or whatever. They may sell their cell phone or lose a cell phone, and those images are out there.
So, in other words, those images are kind of getting stuck in cyberspace. They're not just going from one phone to the other.
That's correct. It's out there. Once it's out there, it's gone, and it's like pasting a big billboard, of yourself on the waterfront, and everyone stopping by to see that big billboard. Whatever you send, it's out there.
So, just to be clear for those watching at home, exactly what type of images are we talking about?
Well, sexually explicit images. Now, clearly there are various tests that we can employ to determine is that a sexually explicit image. There's a 6-part test that we use. But what I like to tell children is, if it is an image that you would have a problem with your mother, your father, or another trusted adult seeing, don't take it and don't distribute it. Because otherwise you get into this whole notion of are the genitals a focal point? Are they clad, partially clad? It's one of those things you know it when you see it. And if you're uncomfortable with those people seeing it, don't send it and don't take it.
So if you don't want mom or dad to see it,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
That's right.
Okay. And are we seeing a lot of this among Virgin Islands school children? Is this a problem within our schools?
Well, nationally it is a problem. And based upon my contact with the children that we've been speaking with during the month of March, I have found that so many of them have come up after our presentations and have told us that they've received images. In a few instances, we've even had some children come up to us and schedule appointments because they had also distributed images of themselves. Judging by the amount of children that come into my office, and just based upon being in the community and seeing how it's now considered just something that kids do, I do believe we're seeing quite a few instances here in the Virgin Islands of sexting activity.
And that's from a prosecutorial standpoint?
From a prosecutorial standpoint, from a community member standpoint, and just having my ear in terms of listening to the children when they talk.
And what about from a law enforcement standpoint?
We have seen a great growth in this area. It is something that is becoming a problem in the Virgin Islands, not just within the schools, it's just in general. Sometimes in some of the youth groups we speak with, we're seeing the same type of activities are starting to grow here. And the big thing that we notice is the children just don't think it's just a way of life, and it's really not.
And you'd mentioned teenagers, but we do find that we are experiencing instances of middle schoolers, pre-teenage children actually engaging in that activity. Like you said, we're becoming a very sexualized society.
So how, as a parent or as a teacher, community member, do we stop this from happening or prevent it from happening?
Well, one of the key things is, first of all, the parents should know their children's cell phone passwords, their computer passwords, and also monitor their activity. Also, don't be shy to speak to your children about what's going on. Especially when some of these new phones, you have these various apps. Know what's going on. Show me how to use that. How does this work? And you can get engaged with your children. Just be engaged, keep them informed, and also notify law enforcement.
Okay.
And also, Sarah, programs like this bring the whole notion of sexting out of the shadows and into the light. Before shows like this, children knew about it, school personnel knew about it, but it pretty much was confined as an issue to that area. Now parents are learning about it, community members are learning about it, churches are learning about it, and now we can actually play a part in connecting with our children and letting them know that this activity does have consequences.
Okay, so awareness, monitoring, and tracking.
That's
all right. Agent Hodge, is there a website that either children or adults can go to get more information if they are concerned about this issue?
Yes, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, called NCMEC, is a great resource, and that is www.ncmec.org. So ncmec.org. That has lots of information, and you can also report activity there as well. Or you can also call on Operation Predator. ICE has a national hotline as well that they can call in. It's just 1-866-2-DHS-ICE, and that you can report information there as well.
Okay, thank you. Around the country, law enforcement and educators are struggling with how to confront minors who sext, a term that refers to sending explicit photos, videos, or texts from cell phone to cell phone, a common practice among Virgin Islands teenagers. When we come back, I Am the Islands will explore the unintended and lifelong consequences of sexting.
He's following me again. I'm headed for home. Call the police.
Hi, this is Shanna. Leave a message after the beep.
Pick up. I know you're there. I can see you.
Police, don't move! Put your hands behind your head!
I on the Islands puts the focus on local issues and events that affect you. I'm Sarah Lazama, inviting you to join me for some interesting conversation and timely information Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. and weekends at 12 noon and 6 p.m. on the Access Channel, local cable channel 6 on St. Croix, and channel 10 on St. Thomas.
If you think it's hip to be in a gang, listen up. I got into a gang at the age of 13. At 21, I was in and out of prison for the next 17 years. I got shot 13 times. Now I'm 44, and I'm here to tell you, the drugs, the money, the sex, it's all there, waiting for you. First you have to ask yourself, are you willing to give up half your life or more to be in a gang?